Welcome back to Fantasy Hoops. Today, fantasy basketball sleepers for you this season. If you're just tuning in for the first time, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, mock draft coming your way as well. I know it's the weekend just before the season kicks off, so this is kind of crunch time. And then as well, be sure to check out our partners over at Manscaped. Promo code BOX, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code BOX. Go to manscaped.com. Lawnmower 4.0, Weed Whacker, Performance Package, you name it, they have it. Love Manscaped, the best in male grooming. Let's get to some sleepers. You told me you have something that I'm not going to like, so why don't you start there?
Okay, so my first pick is Sadiq Bey. So he has an ADP of 116. He's taken about 10th to 11th round. He's only rostered 73% of the time, which is very low.
Yeah.
The thing that I want to say about him is he's a small forward. He's a big guy. He's got a big wingspan, very athletic.
I think you're going to say something that I agree
I'm going
with.
to say something. He can guard 1 through 5.
Yeah.
As corny as that sounds to say about a guy, he can guard 1 through 5. And when your coach is Dwayne Casey, that is a valuable asset to have to stay on the floor consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So he started off last season. He wasn't really in the rotation too much just because, Dwayne Casey's going to run the guys that he knows can at least play basketball. And then he slowly worked his way in through the season. And this year coming in as a sophomore, I think he's earned that trust where I don't know if he's necessarily a foundational piece of that team, but he's probably right now like the third best option.
Yeah.
I was looking too at his stats. He was shooting, I think, 38% from the three.
Yeah, he shot the three well.
Right. So his field goal percentage is only about like 41%.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can just kind of get a little more consistency on his shooting, if he can just be a little bit more confident, take more shots. I think he was averaging about 10 shots per game last season.
Right.
Which isn't, too many, but if he can bump that up to, maybe 14, 15, just kind of consistently take more shots, maybe take some easier shots, still rely on that three ball that he's so good at hitting. I think that's just a guy who's going to give you really good value if he's going in the 10th round.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is if they do see some better play from like other pieces, that he kind of seems like a guy that could step out. But I like him. Like I liked using him like an OwnersBox. They had near the end of the year when we had launched our salary cap game a bit and we're testing it out. I put him in a decent amount just because of opportunity. But yeah, I don't mind Sadiq Bey at all.
Yeah, my only worry with him is like just because Detroit's so bad.
Yeah.
If they kind of get to the end of the season and want to shut him down, maybe they do. But I don't know. Just the fact that it's Dwayne Casey, this guy's coming in as a second-year player. I don't see him as needing to rest at the end of the season. I think they're just going to run him the whole season, and he's just going to be a guy who's so heavily relied on for so much.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it at all. I'm going with Chuma Okeke. His ADP is right around 154, the back of the 13th round. I like some of the numbers I saw to finish the season. I know, this is a guy who came off a major injury going in the first round to Orlando a couple of years ago, and he did have a knee injury to finish the season and did miss it wasn't too much at the end of the season. I think he played right around 50 games, 45 games. But his last 17 games, all starts. 12.5 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 2.9 assists, 1.6 steals. He's going to be a full-time starter this year. I liked what I saw before the season ended. And then Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac both coming off ACL injuries. I realized that Isaac's been out for 14 months with an ACL injury, and he's still not going to be ready for the start of the season. So he gets good runway here to immediately contribute for you. So I think he's, when he was playing 20 plus minutes, he was making close to 1.5 threes per game. So someone this late in the draft, he's kind of contributing to all categories. He isn't the most efficient player, which is a little bit worrisome, but I can find that in other rounds at that point in the draft, some efficient players. So I do like his opportunity and what he can contribute. And again, like I mentioned, the steals are there too. So it's really all categories that he contributes well in other than a bit of efficiency.
Yeah, another big thing too with the Magic is because like kind of similar to Detroit where they're just not a very good team.
Yeah.
You're just going to see him like they're going to run guys in and out of the lineup. If somebody just happens to work, they're just going to give him more leeway.
Yeah.
And with Jonathan Isaac, he's been injured. He also hasn't gotten the shot, I believe. I think he's kind of in the same boat as Kyrie right now. And if he just becomes that. Sorry?
I didn't even consider that. I didn't even pay attention to that.
If he's in that boat where there's a lot of games where he just can't play, then he might just become a bit of a problem for them and they're just gonna give him more runs.
Yeah. My biggest worry is that he can't stay healthy for the remainder of the season because this is a major injury he's coming back from. But I like him, especially 13th round. Should have immediate impact starter, which is exactly what I want.
All right, so my second player. So I find usually with sleepers, it's guys who maybe not everybody knows about.
Yes.
But my second player is somebody everybody knows about. That's Kyle Kuzma. He has a 126 ADP right now, about round 11 to 12. The only thing with him that I see is when he was on the Lakers, he didn't have a solidified role. You couldn't really say what type of player he was. You couldn't even really kind of comment on what position he played. If he was a wing guard, sometimes he played power forward. He would just kind of fill in holes wherever they needed him to. And he's just kind of a pretty good defender. He's got a pretty good three ball, but he just never really got a chance to show what kind of player he really is there. So just being on the Wizards now, he's probably going to slot in at the small forward position most of the time, just with Beal and Dinwiddie being the guards. Then they're going to have Rui playing the 4.
Yeah.
If he does have to draw in at the 4, there are 2 starting centers right now projected to be Stanley Gafford and Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
And neither of those guys take any threes.
Right.
So if Kuzma can really rely on that 3 ball that he loves to shoot, he can be that big stretch 4 for them. And he's going to get that runway to take those shots. They're not going to kind of make him have to facilitate to the other guys because they know he can shoot.
Yeah.
So it's more of a guy where I think everybody looks at him and says, yeah, I know what Kyle Kuzma is. I don't really care about him that much.
Yeah.
There's just maybe you get towards the end of the draft, he's a good flyer to take on, where if he is getting those chances early on, they're going to continue giving him more and more. And maybe you see a minute increase because I was also looking at his minutes. His first 2 seasons, he was playing over 30 minutes a game. His last 2 seasons were much less than that.
Right.
So the fact that he's coming in and he's playing so many less minutes after starting his career playing a lot. You're seeing those stats drop off.
Yeah.
So it's just a really good chance for him to show who he is and have a big just career season with the Wizards.
The Wizards also just don't match up well defensively against anyone and can kind of get in a lot of games where they're just running the floor. And I think there's good volume opportunity for him.
That too. Like he pulls down a decent amount of boards and gets some steals. That's just going to have those opportunities. The other team's going to have the ball so much, like you're saying, that he's going to just rack up those defensive cats.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I'm going with Terrence Mann here with my second of the Clippers. This is someone I think is definitely picking up a little bit of steam with people around the fantasy basketball community. It's really about the opportunity that he has. You know, a lot of buzz from the playoffs last season, that 39-point game against the Jazz in the Western Conference semifinal. Kawhi out for what will likely be the entirety of the season. So they're really expecting, I think, Terrence Mann to step up with this opportunity, and he did in the playoffs. Those last 4 or 5 games against the Suns, he was playing like 30 minutes a night. He is an efficient player. My issue is that I need to see his involved. He needs to be involved and get into the rotation with Bledsoe and with Reggie Jackson. So if he's involved there, and if they do play small, which they did a fair bit in the playoffs, then we could look at like a serious increase in minutes and a lot of opportunity. And he has been efficient. So this is a player that if I'm taking someone like Chuma Okeke, I can grab Terrence Mann, and I know that he can be efficient for me. And then there's also a really good opportunity for him to be more involved after a really good look. He looked very good in the playoffs to finish the year too.
Yeah, it's just, again, I think the key word that we've used for guys is just opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's just guys later in the draft who, if they are drawing in well early in the season, they're going to be good long-term options to keep around.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because a lot of this point is going to be, there'll be people you'll find on the wire that these guys can be dropped for if we don't see that. But I think there's an opportunity here for Mann to really excel with Kawhi out too. All right.
Yeah.
Well, fantasy basketball sleepers for the season for you. Again, check out our partners over at Manscaped, the Lawnmower 4.0, promo code BOX. You can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with Manscaped. And then the OwnersBox, fantasy basketball, our salary cap game is live. NBA 10 for a free $10 entry in there. So give that a chance. Points. It's a points. Sorry, it's not a points. It's not head-to-head. It's points. The categories, I think it was 10 points 1 point for points. What was the scoring system?
It's 1 for points, 1 for assists, 1 for rebounds.
Yeah.
And then it's 2 for steals and blocks.
That's
and then -1 for turnovers.
Perfect. Yeah, so go check it out. NBA 10, free entry there. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.